Hello everyone! Today we're going to be jumping back into a historic brawl with our favorite caterer turned chef, Rocco the Street Chef. Now Rocco is a 3-mana 2/4 creature, and at the beginning of our end step we're going to have each player exile the top card of their library. Until our next end step, either us or our opponent can play the card that they exiled this way. Now whenever a card or a land gets played from exile, we're going to go ahead and put a +1/+1 counter on a creature we control, as well as create a food token. So our deck has a lot of food synergies and a lot of exiling effects. So down in the lower end of our mana curve, we do have a couple of fun things to point out. Stonebinder's Familiar is actually a great 1-mana card to end up drawing here. Whenever one or more cards are put into exile during our turn, we can put a +1/+1 counter on Stonebinder's Familiar, and this ability only triggers once each turn, but this guy is going to keep on growing over the course of the game, and that's going to be very strong for us. Additionally, one of our stronger removal spells here is Soul Partition, so not only is this going to exile a non-land permanent, but our opponent can play it again at a taxed rate, so that's going to put them behind in tempo, and when they play it out of exile, we actually get a +1/+1 counter and a food token off of Rocco, so that's going to be really strong for us as well. Since we are making so many food tokens, we do have some artifact synergies, things like Shrapnel Blast, where we can sacrifice a food and deal that damage. Same thing with Voltage Surge. So a couple of those strong options as well. We also have the Inspiring Statuary. This is a great spell to have in pretty much any large token generating deck. We saw this when we were playing Lannis in Simic colors, making all those clue tokens. It's going to be very similar, except with all of our foods. We also have Nettle Cyst. This is going to grow bigger each time we make one of those food tokens, so that's also going to be very strong. Some of our other exile effects, we have exile the top 5 with Escape to the Wild. We have our opponent exiling and us exiling. Cards here off Urbrask. We have Atali, which is going to exile when it attacks, Atali, which is going to exile 2 when it enters the battlefield. So a whole bunch of effects that are going to get us more and more value over the course of the game. The land base is going to be fairly straightforward. We just have all sorts of different lands that can tap for all the colors we need, and nothing too much fancier than that. Now, if you guys have been enjoying my content, make sure you subscribe to the channel to stay up to date on my latest videos. And if you do enjoy this video, make sure you give it a like. Let's go ahead and see how this deck does. Alright, here we are on the play here. This isn't too bad, but I do think we're going to take the mulligan. Veil of Summer isn't going to do too much for us here anyway. Now this, honestly, is even worse, just 1 land, so we're going to mulligan one more time and keep 6. It's always unfortunate when we do have to keep 6. I think we'll just go ahead and bottom the Wicked Wolf. Go ahead and pass. Let's see. Let's start with the Fabled Passage. I think we're going to want to grab green here, but let's just end the turn. Next turn, the goal is going to be to get out the Paradise Druid. So let's go green. Gorge and Paradise Druid. Now we'll be able to get Rocco out next turn. We can also go for Guardian Project. That might be very strong, giving us that extra land draw. Yeah, our opponent's going to be playing a dinosaur deck, so I'd expect to see some early ramp. Makes sense to me. Let's go ahead and play this out on white, and we are going to go for the Guardian Project here. Even if our opponent's able to remove Paradise Druid, we're still going to be able to cast Rocco next turn. Gives us 2 cards to draw. That's not too bad. We do lose out on some potential value, but I think we're going to be okay. Okay, let's play out Rocco here. Now, do I want to remove their ramp creature? I think we do. We're just gonna go ahead and get rid of that. Swing in, deal some damage. No need to hold up mana. And now we have a land in exile that we can play next turn. That's going to start getting us our food tokens, that's going to turn on the statuary, and we're going to be in a very good spot. Well, we'll put the +1/+1, but Rocco gets destroyed. We still get the food, though. So let's go ahead, play our land, replay Rocco. Draw a card. Nice. Now we will have Selfless Savior. That's going to be a great card for next turn. Yep, our opponent's just going to go ahead and leave that in exile because they don't want to give us any extra value. Makes sense to me. Yep. Alright, so let's go Selfless Savior here. Draw a card. Let's go ahead and put a +1/+1 counter on Rocco. Let's go with the Fire Weaver here. Draw a card. We have Samwise. Draw a card. Lots of options. And then no need to attack just yet. We'll hold up Swords to Plowshares. Okay, let's put another +1/+1 counter on Rocco. We get our food and deal 1 damage to our opponent. Okay, that's fine. Alright, gonna move on to our turn. Right off the bat, let's start with an Arcane Signet. Put our +1/+1 counter on Rocco. Deal some extra damage. Let's go with the Statuary. Play our tapped Game Trail. And then let's go Lorna the Third Path. We're gonna hit Mirari's Wake, make a food token, deal some damage. We are getting a lot of value here. Okay. Now, we'll go ahead and swing with Rocco. Good, looks like we've got it. And then pass the turn here. We exile a Voltage Surge, which we can cast. Notably, it will not kill the Temple Altasaur here, because this will only be able to deal 3 damage. For -1. Okay, opponent plays their commander. Let's see if they have a protection spell. It looks like they don't. We'll just exile that. And we've got it, alright. Okay, opponent goes first, and they're playing Aragorn. Heliod's Punishment is going to be good here. We have some decent mana with Arcane Signet. I think we can keep this. Alright, so we're not going to have that Forest and Plains, so let's just go with the turn 1 tap land. We're only losing our ability to hold up swords this turn by doing that. And then we'll get more value out of not having that be a tap land in one of our later turns. And now that we do have access to the white, I think we're going to want double green more than we're going to want double white. So we'll go ahead and play this out like this, then go for Arcane Signet. They may have some form of counter magic here, but it seems like we've got it. We do have Lightning Bolt or Swords to Plowshares now to deal with the creature threat out of our opponent. Next turn we could even play out Parallel Lives. Or we can go for Rocco, start getting that value. I do want to see our opponent tap down before I play Rocco. Okay, yep. So that's not what I'm looking for. Let's go for Parallel Lives here. See if we can pull out a counterspell. Alright, yep. So they did in fact have a counterspell. We could have guessed as much, but it's good to know. Sure. So now our opponent might have the counter for Rocco here. Might be a wash away. Is it worth trying? I don't think so. Let's just go with Peregrine. We'll end the turn here. Now I think we're gonna see Aragorn come out. Can hit him with the Swords to Plowshares. Our other choice is to wait and use Heliod's Punishment here. But I don't think that's gonna be the way to do that. Yep, goes for haste. Let's just exile. Heliod's Punishment is going to be for the next time our opponent plays that. Let's go for Rocco here. Deal some damage. And exile some cards. Exile a land for our opponent, Lava Coil for us. Seems pretty good. Okay. Opponent does choose to give this haste. We are going to kill it with Lightning Bolt. Unfortunately, we don't have priority to respond. So now, we'll go ahead and do this. Yep. See if they go ahead and play another land. Next turn, we might just go ahead and put our boots on Rocco. Can also kill Arwen with, or sorry, we can't because of the indestructible counter. Now we do have a choice here. I think this is going to be the better option. And then we'll just go ahead and pass the turn. I do want to find a land here. Samwise is pretty good too. Yep. So our opponent does play Domery here. Let's go ahead and pump Rocco. We make 2 fleets because of Peregrine. They're probably gonna minus, fight, and kill Shulai. Yep. That makes sense to me. Now we do have a couple of different options for our next turn.
As sure as the moon rises, so too shall Phyrexia ascend.
Okay, well, our opponent tapped down Rocco. It would have been much worse for us if they decided to tap down Arcane Signet. Gonna go ahead and play Samwise here. Put a +1/+1 counter. Let's see, I think we just go ahead and use the punishment there. And then we'll move to combat. Here, I think Peregrine Took is going to go ahead and just get rid of Domery, so we don't have to deal with that anymore. I mean, opponent's going to tap to get rid of one of those task counters, I'm sure. But this just buys us 3 turns. Yep. Okay. Domery's gone. We'll go ahead and end the turn. Gets us a Veil of Summer. Yeah, Aragorn. Most likely gonna give it haste. Nope, they go with the +1/+1 counter instead. We can use Hobbit's Sting to try and kill Aragorn. Okay, opponent's gonna keep tapping down Rocco.
Our will cannot be denied.
It's definitely an interesting choice. Let's go Hobbit Sting. There goes Aragorn. And we've got it, alright. Okay, so here we are on the play. We don't have the white land, so we'll take a mulligan here. Here we don't have red, so we'll mulligan once again, and we're lacking green. Go one more. And we'll go ahead and keep this. Let's go ahead, bottom, and Urbrask, and Shalai. And we'll start with Avacyn's Pilgrim. No blocks. Gonna go ahead and play out a Haywire Might. No attacks. Our opponent is focusing on getting damage through with small creatures. I'm gonna go for Guardian Project here. I really want this to resolve, since this will fix our biggest problem, which is that we mulliganed very aggressively to find out opening hand that we could start with. And we do get it, so that's good. No attacks. We'll just end the turn here. Oh, that's fine. As long as we have access to this, we'll be in a pretty good spot. Looks like our opponents missed the land drop, so we'll just go ahead and cast this again. Maybe they have a counterspell. It's okay if they do. No, just a Spectral Sailor. Alright, well, that's pretty good for us. No attacks, we'll end the turn here. Seems like no land out of our opponent. No need to crack our land yet, we'll just wait. Let's go, Rocco. Sure. It'll go on top of the library. End turn. Now we definitely won't be cracking the Fabled Passage. Opponent has found their third land. Sure, Ghostly Pilferer. That's fine. Things are looking actually pretty good for us. Gonna put Rocco in our hand, then cast. Now we get to draw an actual card, which is gonna be pretty good for us. Then no need to attack here, we'll just end the turn. And we exile land, which is gonna be really strong. Okay, well, let's put that +1/+1 counter on Rocco. I'm okay in overly investing since we have the safekeeping. Sure, Snapcaster Mage. Nice. We'll crack this now. Grab a forest. Okay, let them grab that. And they did pick Rocco, so let's just go ahead and use our safekeeping here. Our opponent basically just skipped their turn. They can deal 1 damage, and that's fine. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and play this on white. Put another +1/+1 counter on Rocco, since that's working us towards our Great Henge. Cast the Great Henge. Use Great Henge for Llanowar Elves. Draw an additional card. And then another card off of Guardian Project. Now that we've established all of this card draw, we're actually in a really good spot. Then we can go ahead and, let's see, 2, 4, 5. They won't be able to kill Rocco, so I might as well just attack. Yep. Some free damage. We find another land. And they find something that we are not very afraid of, so I'm feeling pretty good so far. We'll start by playing the Sacred Foundry. Nice. So now our opponent does have much better attackers. That being said, we still have the tempo advantage here. +1/+1 counter. Throw that on Rocco. Sure. So, do we want to shock this in is the question. I don't see why not. They'll give us more options. +1/+1 counter. Let's put one on Llanowar Elves. And then let's use Ren's Resolve here. Elvish Mystic to draw 2 cards. Let's put a +1/+1 counter on Haywire Might. Draw some more. We've got Ragavan. We also have Atali. I think we'll just cast the Atali here. And then the showdown will be for next turn. Can play the Mox. Play the Bobble as well. Let's see, we can use this to play Ragavan. But I don't think we need to here. Let's just move to combat. Swing like this. And we'll get all of that damage. Then let's crack the Bobble, see what our opponent's about to draw. Malevolent Hermit. Alright, not bad. We still have the Mox Amber, so I might as well just cast the Ragavan here. We'll draw some extra cards as well. Looks good. Nice. Conclave Mentor is going to be really strong with all of our spells in exile. Okay, so opponent's just going to draw a ton of cards. That's fine. As it currently stands, they're going to need to find something. I actually don't even know what they can find to avoid us having lethal right now. I don't think they have an out. I'm pretty sure this is going to be the game. Yep, we've got it. Okay, everyone, I hope you all enjoyed. As we saw, Rocco is a very powerful creature to have out on the battlefield. We're going to be getting tons of value out of all of our exile effects. We have solid interaction with our opponents. We're going to be building up a large sum of food tokens over the course of the game, which is also going to give us additional value through them both being a bunch of artifacts, as well as from being able to heal us if we're ever in a situation where we need to actually sacrifice those foods for value. Now, if you did enjoy this video, make sure you give it a like, and if you have any ideas for another deck you'd like to see me play, why don't you let me know in a comment down below. I'll see you all next time.